Roger Federer, I'm reporting to you from Antarctica. No, I'm just kidding. Of course not. I'm in the tri-state area of New York. So, I have to say, congratulations again on a great season, Roger. Of course, last night, I want to say this in a healthy way, it was a freaking disappointment, and I'm sure you were kind of salty about it yourself, but overall, man, I mean, there's some real revelations, you have to know that, number one, you played an entire season, at a high level. And think about it. I think you made it to almost every semifinal that you participated in, except for maybe about 2 or 3. So you have to say you were going extremely deep into tournaments, and which means more wear and tear in the body, more intensity over a very long period of time. And you are like, not only are you, Roger, giving 24-year-olds, Del Potro's 24, but Djokovic is 25, right? Rafa is 26, I think. Murray's 25, and you're 31, and you're like kicking these guys' asses. And I'm telling you, Roger, these guys know. I don't know if you read as much media as me or someone else, but I mean, there's a real good thing that Murray said yesterday. It's like, once you let Roger get up, I mean, you could pretty much forget it. So these guys, they know they cannot, once again, I've been saying this all season long. They know they absolutely cannot sleep at the wheel with you. And Roger, you have to look at not only your record this year, but your record over the last couple of years, which really you end up like giving away a lot of matches because of unforced errors. And I've already I've talked about this a number of times, but I think it's so important to bring it up again so that you cannot start psychologically mistaking these players for people who play better than you, these opponents you can't mistake them for players who play better than you, and they're good in their own right. But what I'm saying is that, when you commit 42 unforced errors, I don't know how many errors Djokovic committed last night or whatever, how many unforced errors Djokovic committed last night, but when you think about 42 unforced errors, that's a gang of points that you give away, and I think I talked about that a long time ago. I think it was when you played against Djokovic in Rome, and you also had 42 unforced errors, and he had 17 or something like that. And so I think I subtracted the difference between the two, and it was 29, and then I roughly calculated how many points it takes to win a set, which without any back and forth and so on and so forth. I'm totally going off the top of my head right now. I think I calculated it to be 24 points to win a set without any back and forth, without any replays, etc. Just straight through would be about 24 points. And you gave away 29 points in unforced errors, when you subtracted Djokovic's. I'm just going off memory. I'm not even doing the math, so it could be wrong. But, it's just important, once again, to realize, hey, I was my biggest opponent. And, when are you going to let that sink in, Roger? And the reason why I'm asking you that is because you said you couldn't believe that you beat Murray. So I don't feel like you're, feeling that you could beat these guys, even though you have, and yes, these guys give you a hard time, but it's because you weren't coming to net as much. And I feel like, the baseline game or whatever, when you're dealing with, once again, guys who are bigger than you, longer arms, longer legs equals longer reach. So when you're hitting the ball all the way from your baseline to over to them, a lot of times it's just hidden in the midcourt. A lot of times these guys can come in and take the ball early, and they can just slam it away, and or whatever. You know, they can just take advantage. And a lot of times, I don't even see them do. I can't say. I saw actually in one of the plays last night, I saw Murray come in and take the ball early and win the point against you. But you know, when you have to look in some of your matches, look at the replays and stuff like that. Look at the replays on YouTube, because the replays, I mean, the highlights are just like 12 to 15 minutes. They're not every single point, but they're, you know, gives you a really good sense of the match. And you know, like if you're really pressed for time and all of that, you know, just take a look at the highlights, like I always say. But see where you're hitting the ball when you're standing at the baseline, like how far is it going. And it's not to say that you don't hit the ball, you don't put speed on the ball, but I'm just saying, in the more, you know what, I'm not even going to repeat all this, because I've repeated it in other videos, and I just really don't want to bore you to death with repetition. So you know, just keep looking at that, and just understanding that not to confuse your skill and your ability for not being able to beat these guys. It's just a matter of executing a certain strategy, which they do against you, and then just understanding again that these guys, longer legs, longer arms, longer reach altogether than you, is going to make it seem like it's going to neutralize a lot of your efforts. So I think it was really effective you coming in and taking the ball early, you know, and it's just a matter of you know, again, putting that into perspective, like, hey, I'm winning, you know. Of course these guys are good when they can exploit certain aspects of my game, but when I play them straightforward, you know, and I'm you know, exploiting opportunities as well, or taking advantage, or amplifying opportunities, then they can't even hang with me. So you need to know that, Roger. You know, you really need to know that. You know, being up 3-0 against Joker, like I said last night, is freaking huge. Like, I don't even care. I don't want to say I don't care. I'm really kind of disappointed personally that you didn't win. But I don't mean it. I don't mean that I'm like disappointed. Like, oh, Roger, you know, it's just like, I think I'm disappointed in a way. Or no, let me say I'm disoriented. Let me put it like that. Like, it just feels like, you know, like something's out of place. Kind of like, you know, you ever seen The Matrix? The movie The Matrix. Where at one point, you know, Neo, Keanu Reeves, he like is walking with a group of people who are familiar with The Matrix, but this is his first time being in The Matrix, and then he sees, like, you know, he sees a cat walk across the hallway, but then he sees like a squiggle or something, you know, and then he sees the cat, actually the action repeated, like a deja vu. He sees the cat walking again across the hallway, and he was like, wait a minute, you know, I just saw something weird. Like, I saw the cat walking across the hallway, and then I saw the cat walking across the hallway again, and they were like, oh my god, there's a change in The Matrix. And so that's how it kind of feels. Like, you didn't win that match last night. You should have. You know, that match was totally yours. And I don't mean you should have, Roger, you did a bad job, la 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 la. I don't mean that. I'm just saying, like, that match was yours. Your rightful place was, you know, with that trophy in your hands. Like, you were the better player. You were the one, you know, who should have won. It just didn't happen. But I'm saying it's just disorienting. Like that's what that reminds me of, like that little bit in The Matrix. Like, wait a minute, something's just out of place here. Something's just not right. So it's not a fit, actually. You know, like this, Djokovic having won that is like, you know, I think, what size shoe do you wear, Roger? Did I read somewhere? Well, I don't know what European shoe sizes are, but I read somewhere you wear like a size 12.5 or something. You know, it's kind of like, okay, you either wear a 12.5 or a 13 or something like that, I think. Anyway, so it's kind of like, instead of having that 12.5 like on your foot, like you're wearing a size 10 shoe. You know what I mean? Like 2.5 sizes smaller. So, you know, it's just not a fit. It's just not a fit. So, again, this is really something that there's a lot of data here. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about. First of all, I feel like you were trying a couple new things and it was working. It's about just getting comfortable with that. It's about getting comfortable with your strategy. Go away. I'm like, looks like I'm just slouched and I'm not. And this jacket, oh my gosh, it looks so fat. Anyway, yeah, I think it's just a couple of really good things to look at and see that actually, number one, you need to make sure that you are absorbing the fact that you can beat these guys. I feel like, and it's probably really tough. It's probably tough to psychologically be able to process stuff when you don't win a match. But, you can beat these guys, and they all, trust me, they all talk with each other. And there's always the big question. How do we beat Roger Federer? How do we keep Federer down? How do we keep Federer back? You know what I mean? And by the way, seriously, okay, so it was literally 2 seconds after the end of the match yesterday. And here goes Rafa on Twitter talking about congratulations, Nole, or something. I forgot what he said. But I was like, Rafa, is that you? And this is his verified Twitter account, because I thought it was like, you know how you have an account called PseudoFed, you have that guy or whatever, he's from Switzerland, he's always kind of making fun, acting like you have a big ego and all of this stuff. You can't take him seriously, But there's also a pseudo Nadal account too. So I thought it was a pseudo Nadal account or whatever. And then I'm looking, it was like it was Rafa's actual account. So I'm like, wrote him back. I'm like, Rafa, what the freak? When are you coming back? Like, you're so busy 2 seconds after the freaking match congratulating Joker. Like, what the you know what I'm saying? I would see you congratulate Roger all damn season. That doesn't mean that it hasn't happened, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean, Roger? I'm just saying. Sit your ass down, Rafa. Sit your ass down. You know what I'm saying? You you're like fucking, excuse me, you like disappear. I'm saying he's probably injured and all of that, but no, you know what? Let me keep it real, okay? Obviously, some big part of me does not think that Rafa is like truly injured. This is just the way everything happens with him. You know what I mean? And I think he has some ailments now, but I don't know. And then you guys like strangely brought up this drug testing thing. And you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm from New York City where there's so much game and scam. And I was just kind of like, well, why are people complaining about... I'm not saying you guys are complaining, but I'm like, why is this an issue? I don't know if it was just that you and Murray were just simply asked this question, or you guys kind of brought it out on your own. But what's the concern about being tested more? And why I don't hear any other players being accused of doping other than Rafa, which I was really surprised about for many years. I had a coworker a couple years ago who was really into tennis. Only the difference between me and him is that he used to actually travel to London and he used to actually go to the match. He used to actually go to Miami and stuff like that. But anyway, so he was the one who he said, he was a Rafa fan. I mean, he likes you too, but he was just a Rafa fan at first. But he said, that Rafa gets accused of using steroids, and that was the first time I heard that back in 2009. I had never heard anything like this before, never, ever. So anyway, after that I was like, wow, really? I don't think so, or whatever. But I mean, it's like, where is this coming from, and why is it only him, and it's sticking to him? You know what I mean? And like I said, sometimes it gets to the point where it's kind of like, well, where there's smoke, there's fire to a certain extent. And I just wondered, like, what the hell is he doing taking off all this time? Like, it's now that I'm from New York City, and then it's like anything's possible, and there's so much scam and game, and I'm not trying to disrespect Rafa, or I'm not accusing him, but I'm just saying, like, you know, being from a city where there's a lot of game and stuff like that, there's always these extra possibilities. And it's like, is he taking off more time because he's doping? I mean, I don't know. He doesn't want to get caught. I'm just saying, okay, right. I know that's really outrageous. That's an outrageous statement. I don't know that true. You know, I don't know. So I really don't want to get this confused. I don't want to get this confused as accusing Rafa of this, but I'm just saying, like, when you stay out inexplicably this long, I'm just saying, like, all these weird possibilities come up, you know, and I'm not saying that's true about Rafa, but I'm just saying it's just another, like, what the hell are you doing staying out so damn long? I haven't seen any medical records or anything. You're sitting there salivating at the damn TV in 2 seconds on Twitter, you know, 2 freaking seconds after the freaking match is won by Joker. Congratulations, Joker. Then we saw some great tennis tonight. Like, really? I'm sorry, I'm just wilding out right now. And let me just pull back for a moment. There's an indirect blessing in all of this, because I have to tell you once again, I have had an unbelievably hard week, you know, not to go through all of that again, but you know, with everything that's going on in my family and everything, I've just had an unbelievably hard week. So I have to say, yesterday, well, just took my mind off of everything. And I think, you know, I don't know how you would take this, because I really don't want to say this in the wrong way, but in a weird way, the fact that the match wasn't won kind of, I know this really sounds like messed up. I really don't mean it this way, but it kind of, like, in some weird way sort of helped me, because then it's like my mind's going like, oh, Roger, blah blah blah, Roger needs to, like, if you won the match, I wouldn't have as much to say, I'm sure, but you know, I get the typical urge, the typical inexplicable urge to, like, make a video and go, oh, Roger, this, that, you know, and had you won, I would have had like less to say. And I'm not saying that I'm happy that you didn't win. Not saying that at all, but you know, the silver lining for me, I know that maybe there's no consolation to you, sorry about that, but you know, it's like I woke up this morning and you know, started doing my normal routine or whatever, and then when my thoughts kind of turn to you, and it's really inexplicable, like my thoughts turn to your game for whatever reason. I still don't understand it all, but I mean, it's kind of been a help to, like, take my mind off of everything and kind of bring a sense of normalcy back to my life. Like, if this is what you call normal, make it 30, 20, 30, 45-minute videos, your favorite sports star, but hey, at the same time, at least I don't paint my face, you know what I mean? Like us crazy football fans. You can paint my face green for the Jets, green and white, and stuff like that, you know? I just make really long videos, but anyway, Roger, I just wanted to say, I know I probably went off course a lot, but maybe getting back to what I was talking about, like with Murray and Djokovic, you know they can't sleep at the wheel with you, so you just gotta realize your effect, you know, and don't take this to heart or anything. I think this was probably the best match you played since Cleveland, maybe, and that's kind of a little bit of a wild sort of, you know, it's kind of a wild statement a little bit, but I think, you know, what you were doing is great. I love the way, you know, you were playing against Murray, and I believe that that's the way you're going to win. You keep playing that way, but I think you really have to work on your belief systems, and that's what I really wanted to get into for this video. I just think that, you know, this is sort of a trend. I didn't build on this last night, but, you know, this is like a trend, it seems, with you, that, you know, when you get into certain high-stakes matches in certain rivalries you have at times, like, you know, the errors start and stuff like that. And again, that's what I think you should really, like, work with Michael Gervais, pinnacle-pro.com. And I don't know, you know, if it isn't Michael Gervais, it should be someone else. And I just wonder, like, Why won't you do that? Like, if you have a nutritionist, once again, you have a physical trainer, you know, I think you've had the same physical trainer for many, many years. Why do you think, you know, like, if you have to train the body, if you have to train muscle, you know, and, you know, it's funny because a lot of people say, like, once you start, I know from running, you know, from training the body to run, you know, I could stop for years and then I could still run, you know, a decent mile, you know, for many years later. You know, I don't know so much now. I could, like, get out and just run anymore, just run a mile without being tired. But, you know, it's once you train the body and build the body into a certain thing, it's like muscle memory. You know, the each muscle, each cell has its own personality and its own complete functioning. And you know, each cell has memory, and it memorizes trauma, and it memorizes happiness and stuff like that, and it memorizes a certain level of thinking, whether you can do it or whether you can't do it, you know, based on the data from the brain. So it's really important. Like, if you feel that, Roger, you have to train, you know, yourself physically, then I just don't understand, like, at this point, like, why you haven't figured you need to train yourself mentally. Like, how to even just, you know, coach yourself through these difficult moments, bring yourself back to the moment, and not make so many errors, you know. And excuse me, of course, I'm not in Roger Federer's mind, so I have no idea what you're thinking or what you're not thinking. But this is a trend. Like, you know, it's like, again, you become your biggest opponent. I think that's what I was saying earlier in this video, and I kind of went off in a tangent. Well, what else is new? So yeah, so it's kind of like you become your biggest opponent, you know, making all these errors and stuff like that, these inexplicable errors, and people are, like, outraged, but in a healthy way, like like that kind of. What is Roger doing out there? You know, because they know how you can play. And it's not saying, oh, Roger, you know, it's not that. It's the expectation. You know, it's such a gross negation of what the truth of the skill you have should be, that people are just outraged, like, what is happening? This is, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Like, literally, fans, I bet you everybody, you know, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you know. And that's not only now. You know, if you go back to Wimbledon 2008, if you go back to the Australian Open 2009, if you even go to, well, maybe this is a little bit debatable, but I think the U.S. Open 2009 as well against Del Potro, but your serve was off. But I don't remember what your unforced errors were. I don't, you know, but you made some errors that were, you know, not Roger Federer-esque. But I will say this, Roger, you know, and I will say this in a healthy way, you know, it's getting to the point where people, this thing I'm talking about happens with you so much that people are, like, tweeting, like, oh, Roger's being Roger, you know. And when I say that, Roger, do not take that, like, the wrong way. I'm saying this with the interest of you recognizing that people know that you are supposed to win. They know you are supposed to win, and that the people cannot believe when you are not stepping into your rightful place as a winner of these matches. That's what I'm saying. I'm not attacking you at all, so please just don't take that as what I said as a negative. I just really want you to understand, like, people see stuff, you know, people, you know, see stuff, like, you know, you've seen stuff. You were like, who's your favorite sports player or something like that? I know you're like, you know, you love Pete Sampras, but I'm saying, like, maybe in football, like soccer, as Americans say, but football is the way the rest of the world says. You know, have you ever seen a player, like, you just like, oh, you know, like, he can do this, you know, this is his, what's he doing? You know what I mean? Like that. And it gets to that point that it's like, it pushes you to the point emotionally, you're like, what is he doing? You know, that kind of thing. And it's not that people don't think you don't know what you're doing. It's that people are just Like, again, you're like dancing around the fire. Like, step in and take your rightful place, Roger. You know, that match was yours rightfully. And it's not to say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, mathematically, damn it, Roger, that match was yours. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing, like, with Wimbledon 2008, with the Australian Open 2009. You look at the numbers, you look at the performance. I mean, you know, and even, you know, it's even some of the trends you have, like at the Australian Open against Rafa in 2011, taking that first set, you know what I mean, and just playing amazing, you know what I mean. And then even with Del Potro's loss the other day, I didn't see that match, but I was like reading it. Del Potro's loss at the World Tour Finals the other day. I'm sorry, the Del Potro, the loss to Del Potro, I guess you could say. But someone started saying, okay, Roger delivered a beautiful first set. You know, Roger played amazing tennis. But then inexplicably, he said something like, suddenly out of the blue came these bizarre barrage of errors or something like that, you know. I mean, barrage, they didn't use the word barrage, I'm using that. But you know, Roger, it's really something where, you know, just notice when people on Twitter say, oh, Roger's being Roger again, you know. And I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, because in all truth, it's not something that's disrespectful. It's like people just, again, see you not stepping into your rightful place as winner. You know what I mean? They're not seeing that. And, you know, it's kind of like also the way I talked about in track, too. You're not the only one. You're not the only one who does this, you know. And to be quite honest, like, you are functioning under a lot of pressure. There's a lot of world pressure to deal with. You know what I mean? It's a lot. So I commend you, and I'm so proud of you as a fan. And I'm so proud of you because you don't know, I don't know, you have a lot of professional friends. You have a lot of people who achieve and who are high achievers. But I want to tell you, the day-to-day people in this world, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, are people who are half-assing it. And I don't mean they're sitting on their ass and not doing anything, but they play it safe and they play small. It takes a lot to play big, Roger, and that's what you're doing. You're playing so damn big, you know what I mean? And so, you know, all of the so-called falls that you've taken in front of this world and stuff like that, and the so-called, you know, losses and whatever you consider failures and whatever other people have labeled as failures, like, they're not doing even an inch of what you're doing on a global world level. It takes a lot. So I want to commend you for that. You know, there's a lot of pressure in this. I really want you to know that. I honor that and I recognize that in you. And it takes a lot, because I'm telling you, a lot of people out here, they play small and they play safe. You know, they're kind of like the little squirrel who's like, oh, let me just get my nut and, you know, don't want to make too many waves. Yeah. You know, like that type of thing. People really, they're afraid to speak out. They're afraid to express themselves. They're not their true selves even, you know, and God forbid getting into a sport where they have to play in front of a group of people, you know. So these people have nothing on you, Roger. I'm just saying you're doing really big things, but at the same time, like, you know, people expect a lot because they know what you can do. But again, you're human, you know what I mean? And it's good to see, it's good to just acknowledge the fact that, you know, you're in a great space and in an amazing place at this point in tennis. You are, you know, you could definitely beat Joker, especially like you getting in taking a ball early. I'm telling you, doesn't it work? So, you know, and then over time, you know, as more of the season goes on, people are going to notice that and they're going to try to switch it up. And you're constantly going to have to be switching up your strategy. But, you know, it's all a matter of strategy. It's not that your skill is dropping or anything like that. It's your nerves. And it'll be a matter of your nerves and preparation, your ability to perform and deliver under pressure. And you can do it. People know that you can deliver, you know, but you're not stepping into your rightful place. And there's something about it, you know, like I said, that dancing around the fire thing, like you're not stepping into the fire here. And you need to figure out why. And, you know, speaking of dancing around, like, I feel like I'm not getting to the point. I just wonder, you have this trend of doing this again, and I rattled off all of the things in the past that, you kind of built this sort of trend or whatever. Like there's so many wins you should have had against Rafa, shoulda, woulda, coulda, but there's wins you should have had against Joker, should have, would have, could have, but it's that not delivering thing, and it's more than not being able to physically deliver. Again, it's a mental thing, it really is. And when I say mental, Roger, I just mean the mind. I don't mean mental like mental retardation or mental illness, So, again, like, you should get someone, to help you get your mental fitness up, Roger. You need it. If you really want to take this to the next level and not be the guy who's, I don't want to say this, but, at the end of the day, like, you're going to be creating this legacy. And I love you, Roger. And I don't mean to, I'm not trying to be harsh toward you at all. I'm so on your side. I want you to know. But you don't want to be known as a guy who's like bungling up things. And it's not to say there's a difference between making a mistake and there's a difference in not stepping into your rightful place. So, all I'm saying is that, you are the greatest of all time. It's simply, I'm not trying to be funny. You create some amazing shots. They said not only did you put on a master class of as far as how to play tennis last night, you put on a master class of as far as how tennis is played against Murray, and then there was this one, I think it was like a half volley. It was a really lovely shot. You managed to get down the left side of the court against Murray. Actually, there were a few of them, but it's a highlight. It's considered a hot shot. And the commentators were like, you're never going to ever see anything like that ever really again. And the fact that this man makes it so it looks so easy. Like, Roger, you create so much beauty. You create, it's just the truth. And when people see you not stepping in the truth and stepping into the full expression of your talent, like, again, it's like that size 10 shoe on the 12.5 foot. Like, it doesn't fit. Ugh! That's the way people are, the fans, oh my God, what's he doing? So, this is all, you have to look at this as not criticism, but just it's like, dude, the truth of the matter is you can do this. This place is yours. You're supposed to win this, because you are winning it. You were winning it, and it's not to say that people can't stage a comeback and stuff like that, but I'm saying that people are looking at your skill and what you were doing, it's one thing to just say, have people say, oh, Djokovic was the better player. But that wasn't the case, Djokovic, of course, held his mental resolve. Djokovic, of course, is extremely talented. I love Joker, all that in the third. But when you just, there's a difference between saying, oh, this player clawed back and, oh, this player completely, like made all of these errors and stuff, like inexplicable errors. It's one thing to, like, really honestly make errors. But, again, it's a trend and it's a thing with the nerves. So, I want to see you win. I really do. You deserve to win. And I want to see you build the legacy that you so rightfully deserve. I mean, it's not to just be like, sort of like ass kissing or anything like that. 'Cause I'm not an ass kisser. I'm just saying, like, when I give a compliment, it's because it's a true, I'm just a fan of excellence. I'm a fan of brilliance. Let me put it like that. And there's not a lot of excellence and brilliance. And it's a sad thing to say, but, excellence and brilliance is like a commodity, scarce commodity. So when I see it and I'm giving a compliment, it was real. So, I mean, this is your rightful place, Roger. And, I wonder again, and I apologize that I'm not getting to the point. Haven't been getting to the point, but I wonder again, like, what is it that you are afraid of? And I'm not saying, oh my God, Roger, you're so scared. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I recognize, that there's certain limits, limits that you have to deal with and stuff like that. Like, what is holding you back from just stepping in your rightful place? And this is happening a lot. Like, what's holding you back? Is it again, is it the media or is it nothing, or am I wrong or something like that? But I really do feel it's something holding you back. There's something holding you back. It could be on an unconscious level. It doesn't have to be conscious, but there's something there, and I think you should, do some mental, do some mental exercise and work, and even some meditation around it, to get through it. Because, I mean, it's tough. I think, again, it's tough. It's kind of like, I was trying to say this before, but I guess I went off on a tangent. Kind of like when I was talking about how in high school, like, I used to get out front, and then I'd be like, get out in front, leading the pack, doing what I was supposed to be doing because I was a faster person. But I'd be up there and kind of like in my mind, like, okay, now what next? I don't know what it is to lead, and it's not that you haven't led, but when you've led, you've dealt with so much, you built this huge legacy, and you have these people like putting all this pressure on you and saying you've lost it, and it's a lot for you to deal with. And so, when you can't win, no one can win every single match. So it's like every time you're not winning something, now it's like, oh, Roger should retire, oh, he's getting older, oh, blah, blah, blah. It's like all this noise. But that comes with the territory. And I think what's happening is, I'm wondering if you're afraid to like step into that realm again. Like, are you afraid? And when I say afraid, I'm not attacking you. I'm not, maybe the word afraid sounds like a harsh word. But is there some part of you that's really afraid to like win? You know what I mean? Are you afraid to win and what it'll mean for you to win? And if you're defining winning as, stepping into this place of being on the spot, being the one where everybody's going to chase, being the one where the media is going to always create this storm of controversy. Oh, who's better, Djokovic or Federer and Murray, and and when Rafa comes back, la 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 la, and I could really understand that pressure. I'm not the one in your shoes, but pressure it's just a pain to deal with. I don't even, and again, I don't even think like what's happening to you is anything that's on the court. I feel like it's this off the court nonsense that is like feeding into your errors. And I think for you, what you need to do is, number one, recognize that you are winning. And number two, you have to realize that what is the definition of your legacy, and that other people are going to try to define your legacy, but it doesn't have to be their definition. Like, you lead on the definition, maybe you're not going to have 35 Grand Slam titles, you know what I mean? But you're just gonna go into every tournament and play your best. And if you make it to world number one, which you are completely freaking more than capable of doing, if you just realize that. And I think that's why people do this. It's like, Roger doesn't even realize, like, what is Roger doing? This is not, some old, aging 31-year-old guy. This is a prodigy. This is somebody with brilliance who can play, and he's not stepping into. Roger, I want you to realize so bad. That's the feeling that I get from Twitter. That's a feeling that I have to a certain extent. That is, what people put on YouTube, like, and stuff, and all the comment boards. Take a look around, if you want yourself, take a look around and just get some opinions. Like, people, are really like, what is with Roger and these like giving away points and stuff like that, like, I know he can do it. And that's the difference between someone can do something, and there's a difference between someone who can do something and should be doing something because they have the talent, and and the difference between someone who just can't do something and is just losing, like, just know that people are like seeing a truth that maybe you're not even 100% seeing. And so I want to get back to defining, what a legacy means. Like, it's up to you to just, what's it going to take for you to be comfortable with winning, and it's not that, what are you saying, oh, world girl, I've won a lot of stuff this season. Like, you're saying I'm not comfortable to win? I'm saying in the high stakes matches with And it's not that you haven't played high stakes matches before. Like, you've gone through an excellent tournament at Wimbledon. I think you had to go through number one Djokovic in the world, and then Murray. Like, damn, you know. And in order to get through Madrid, didn't you have to go through Berdych Del Potro? You know, you have to go through a lot of people all this season and stuff. So it's not that you're afraid to play people personally. It's not that you're afraid to get out there, you know, and I admire that about you. I don't want you to think I'm saying, oh, Roger, you're a character. I'm not saying that at all. I promise you, not one part fiber in my body feels that way. You know, you get out and you do so much on the world platform, and I'm telling you, 99.9% of this population on this earth would never do what you would do. They'd never have pretty much the strength. Or you want me to say 98% to keep hope alive for humanity? I'll do that. So, what I'm saying is, what part of you is just reluctant to deal with not, you know, these huge shoes that the media is going to create for you if you step into the number one spot and start winning against Djokovic and all of this again. Like, you're going to have a rivalry the way you did with Rafa and stuff like that. And, you know, Rafa's eventually going to come back, and they're going to be looking to see what you could do to him. And I hope you beat his ass. I'm sorry. You know, I don't know. You know, when it comes down to it, that's it. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to, you know, Rafa coming back, and I'm looking forward to you getting 8 wins on him and you know, erasing that head-to-head record so you could just shut a lot of these people up, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, and whatever happens, I'm always supporting you. I'm always behind you, Roger. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you as a fan, but I think it's about you defining again what being in number one is, and understanding what comes with the territory and being okay with that, you know. And how you're going to be okay with that is not taking on the definition of what the media says is your legacy, and oh, you're not feeling this, and oh, you're not doing that, and oh, you retire and all of this, you know. I mean, they had you retiring 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Imagine taking the advice of these people. What if they were doctors? You know, the critical thinking of a lot of these people, you know, it's a good thing they're not like a doctor or something like that, because their conclusions and their thought process would be damned wrong. You know what I mean? So you're creating this story, and you've got to stay centered. You've got to define this as, I'm doing my best every single match. I'm not getting into this whole thing about legacy. I'm building my legacy one brick at a time. You know what I mean? And whatever it is, I'm proud with whatever it is, because when I come off that court, I know I've played my hardest. You know, and if I've made errors, then I've just made errors. But I'm not going to get into this whole thing where all of that's in my head on some level, and I'm uncomfortable to, like, play against people because you people expect me to have freaking wings on my back and wings on my shoes like Hercules and win every damn thing. No, I'm going to play each match by match. You know what I mean? There's these other good guys out here too, and you know, I'm gonna play against some hard players. You know what I mean? So just know, like, how are you defining what your legacy is, and don't let other people run away with it. And even if they are, you know, just let them do it. You know what I mean? Like, they're not defining who you are, you know. And maybe it's just a little bit more about learning to ignore the media, which is tough for you because I'm sure you get these questions, you know, from people with limited minds. And I talk about this a long time ago, back in the Roland Garros area of my videos, the Roland Garros point in time. But you know, you can't expect these people to think outside the box when they're not even doing it in their own lives. You know, seriously, they're not. And it's not to talk down about people and be like, you know, as if I were like, oh my God, everything's going great in my life and I'm winning in every single aspect of my life, you know. But I'm just saying, like, you know, Roger, you got to figure out a way to step into who you are supposed to be and get rid of that fear. You know, and don't worry about the whole rivalry thing. You know what I'm saying? If you get out there and play real hard and then you get beaten by Djokovic or something like that, then whatever, just keep it moving. Like, you gotta be okay with that, because right now, playing like this, although you played beautifully last night, like, making those errors and stuff like that, like, that's just, I don't even know how to say that's not gonna cut it or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you just, you know, the capability is there and you must embrace it. You know how, my God, like, in Star Wars trilogy or Star Wars saga, they say, it is your destiny. Well, I don't know where I'm getting all these quotes from these movies and stuff like that, but Roger, when you're not stepping into your brilliance, which is truthfully there, you're not stepping into your destiny, and people can't stand it, and this is why I do this, because it does mathematically make no sense. So anyway, good luck. I've got a call, but I'm gonna ignore that. I'm gonna ignore it. You know, I think I'm grateful to you, though. I'm really grateful to you, and I'm telling you, like I said, this week has been unbelievably just crazy. And I have to really honor my father, who actually has passed away, Alfonso. You know, he was an unbelievable, again, I think I'm a fan of excellence. He was an unbelievable student of excellence, and he was a fan of excellence, and I wouldn't be able to make these videos without him. And I know there was one point in time, like I was talking about being in track and stuff like that, my father used to actually be there and have such high expectations for me, and I wouldn't be winning races and stuff like that. I'd be out in front, you know, kind of like what your performance sort of was last night. Be out in front, doing really well, not tired, not this, not that, but just mentally, yeah, you know, and then sabotaging it, you know, somehow, some way. And I'm gonna say you purposely like sabotaging anything, but you know, just not stepping into what I was supposed to be doing. And you know, he would run with me, and when he would run with me, he'd take me through all the steps of the process, and he had a lot of perseverance, which I talked about at his funeral. It's one really great thing about my father. He was a type A personality. He was a runner, but running with him was a really experience, because you know, I mean, he would take my performance up, you know, at least 5 notches more. And then, you know, I remember one time at the top of high school, he was like, kid, he was like, you actually beat me. You know, we ran a whole, I don't know, it was like 3 miles or whatever, and he, as usual, was talking me through it. We had great long stride together and stuff like that, and he taught me how to run, and he taught me how to stay behind, you know, if I was behind, how to keep the distance close. Like if someone was in front of you running and they were winning, he just taught me how to just, you know, gradually like stay close instead of creating a gap where the person's getting further and further away from you. He taught me how to keep moving with them, and then eventually build myself up to pass them. So running with him was a complete different experience. And so, you know, I do want to take a moment to honor him and say, like, I'd never be able to make some of these videos absolutely without my father, and I miss him. And I'm sorry to like put this personal stuff in the video, but it's just my way of sort of honoring my father. But Roger, again, you know, if I could pass on advice from my father, you know what, you have the skill, you're already working, you know, just like with him, it was step by step, it was perseverance, it was step by step. It's not to say you don't have perseverance or anything like that, but just learn how to a little more so take things step by step. And the more that you're having difficulty and fear out on the court and stuff, break it down to the moment, break it down to the second, like bring yourself back into the moment. You know, like if you're having trouble, don't get into, you know, sometimes it's not even like here, sometimes it's here where all the anxiety comes and just takes over everything, you know. Sometimes it's not always a mental thing, but if you have all that going on in your matches, you know, like I said, you know, like my dad used to say, you know, it's just taking one step at a time, like incorporating the breath, you know, and just staying in the moment and just focusing on the ball. If you bring yourself back to the moment, then you can't get all lost off into these other thoughts. So You will always win. And, you know, it's about defining this race the way you want to define it and setting tone with the media, you know, and not letting them run off into all of these, you know, battles of legacy and who's better and this and that and third. They're always going to talk, you know, like they always talk about McEnroe and Borg and Sampras and Agassi, you know what I mean? Like, they're always going to talk. So never mind it, because long after you retire and you're like 50 years old sitting at and commentating, they're still gonna be talking about whether you were better or whether whomever was better. So, you know, at the end of the day, you cannot stop that conversation. But if you recognize that you stay focused from moment to moment, you're going to win. You're just naturally going to win. Just like you were naturally winning yesterday up 3-0. You know what I mean? Out the box, up 3-0. Whew. You know what I mean? And as your coach, I'll be like, you know, Roger, you know, seriously, you are up 3-love. I'm sorry, I keep saying 3-0. 3-love, darling. 3-love. And, you know, if you can do that, you know, just like my coaches used to say when I was way out in front, it was finishing, not first, like, and then I was finishing and I wasn't even out of breath. Like, if you can do that, then you need to be winning. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that. So again, the mental aspect, I really think you should look at that. They're just gonna teach you how to, you know, understand when anxiety's building up and how to just work through that. And it's not to say, again, you need like mental help. It's not that, Roger. You know what I'm saying? But I can't appeal to you more to like do this, Roger. Please. Please. You know, seriously. Do it, Roger. Do it, please. You're going to be so happy. You know what I mean? Do it. Just do it. Call Michael Gervais. Call somebody. Do it. There's Dennis Waitley, I think. Waitley, you know. Know what you want to do. Go in to win. You know what I mean? Know what your expectations are before you go into the match. Calm yourself down before you go into the match and just do your thing. Yeah, so, okay, I'm talking 51 minutes, and, you know, I could go another 30 minutes, I'm sure. But, you know, just decide how you want to take your legacy. It's step by step, you know, and all I could do is just say, you know, running by my dad with his steady calm, but his push and drive, but it wasn't overly intensive, but it was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, breathe, 2, 3, 4, breathe, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna bring it up, you know what I mean, to take it up to the next notch. It's about layering, having perseverance and understanding, you know, that with perseverance is steady, sustained, it's steady, sustained, you know, effort, evenly applied, and you can do this from match to match, from tournament to tournament. You can do this, you can beat these guys, and the wins will be the natural byproduct of this steady layering. But the nerve thing you got to get through, and I'm sure I'll talk about that another time, but I can't believe this is almost 60 minutes. So let me get going, and good luck. And again, thank you for this opportunity, because it really has been a bit therapeutic for me, you know. So I'm happy and excited to have something to be happening, excited to talk about in this time. So my best to you, Roger. You know, you still did an amazing job yesterday. As far as displaying your strengths, the truth of your strengths and your ability, knowing that you could really rock a 2013 season. My God, dude, you could rock it. Seriously, just get out of your head. Get some help with that. I'm saying, like, how many times? Get some help, or I'm telling you, you're going to keep having these matches just like this. It's going to happen in the Australian Open if you don't do something about this. And don't just think you could do something by yourself. Like, get someone who can help you with this. You know what I mean? And it's probably, you're going to find it's going to enhance your performance and take it to an even higher level. You know, so just go ahead and please. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.